Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend D.G. Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Recording has started. I love that music, Phil. Hey, cats and kittens. It is I, your dear friend, Charlie, the Professor Esser. And with me, as always, is the blue-eyed bomber from the Burg of Pits, Phil Podcast Perich.
Yes.
Hello. Hi, podcast. I'm sorry. I forgot. I should let you introduce yourself like I normally do.
But I might have forgot the podcast, but thank you.
Yeah, well, because you said you wanted that to be your new name. So
yeah, no, that's fine.
I am cool with it, podcast. I like the name podcast. I mean, I like Phil me in Perich, but Phil Podcast Perich, especially as you are now the emperor of all you survey. I think the upgrade is appropriate.
Thank you.
Yes. So some quick thoughts. Of course, we have the new episode of Hawkeye that dropped this week.
Number 4.
Only 2 left. And they say the next one will break the internet.
Well, I think after the ending of this one, I think we know why.
Well, because of Elena?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, that could be it. I'm always trying to think what is going to be what is the thing that's going to be so out there? Because okay, yeah, Kingpin showing up, that would break the internet. But it's also something that we're anticipating. So that's sort of one of those questions, like, would that break the internet? Would that blow our minds? And I gotta feel like, when you're gonna say break the internet, you're probably making up a thing just for hype. But like, if something would have really, and like, so to me, so here is my outlandish fan theory about what would actually break the internet. And that is who that watch belongs to.
Yeah.
And here's actually the most important thing about this watch. And I realize this, and no one has actually mentioned this. That is clearly a woman's Rolex.
Oh.
You can tell by the way the band is thinner and the curvature of the face. It is actually a women's style Rolex. And I actually went online to look up women's Rolexes, and yes, that's what they look like, they, especially old school. So that is definitely an old school woman's Rolex.
Did he say something about, he needed to get that watch back or it would blow someone's cover?
Mm-hmm.
Could that be the wife?
I mean, it could be the wife, and that's the logical one to go to, because obviously the idea that his wife was a former agent does make sense. That is a real possibility, that is someone who got out of the life. But again, it's this weird idea that, they have these things. Why do they still have them? Not my lucky killing people ninja costume. I gotta save that.
Well, again, I guess it was buried under the Avengers compound. I don't know.
Well, yeah, but why even, Peter Parker, when he quits being Spider-Man, he just throws it into a trash can.
Exactly. Can't
tie it back to him that way. It's like, I don't know, we just found this ninja costume in a trash can, but look at this sweet sword. I gotta say though, the fact that the sword is retractable is weird to me.
Yeah, because it's like, where does that blade go? Because
it's vibranium, nano fillers. I don't worry about it going into the thing. It bothers me because they never established that about it before. It's like, because we see it's in a sheath. It's in a big long sheath. Now, if it was retractable back in Endgame, wouldn't you think it'd be easier just to have it on a side holster that you then pull up, rather than having to have the whole big sheath for it? It's weird to me, Phil.
Yes,
It's weird. Unless maybe it's like, oh no, actually the sheath is filled with more stuff, and we just don't know what's in the sheath. It's like, but it's like it's retractable. Then when he pulls it out, it comes out with the sheath, and I don't know. It seems kind of weird that they just decided. Well, they did that so that you could easily move it in and out of the scenes.
Oh, yeah.
So this is where you know, kids, they don't write this stuff ahead of time. Someone wrote this thing. Okay, so we need to have a whole thing with Ronan. It's like, and we're gonna have the whole thing with the sword. It's like, how are we gonna get the sword around? It's like, oh yeah, that's gonna be real awkward. Well, let's just say it's retractable.
If for no other reason, Clint had to sneak it out of that apartment in this episode. So
yeah. Oh, and about
okay.
Sorry, had to clear the throat there. Yes. So here's the thing. Jack totally saw him take the sword.
Mm.
You even see when you're watching it, he's literally got his eyes big and wide, and he's looking over, and then he looks back, and then you do this thing where you think he's being misdirected, but this guy already got the drop on Clint once. So I do think that there is a relationship between Jacques and Clint historically, which actually, I mean, again, it's a woman's. I think it's a women's Rolex, but what do I know about watches? Maybe that is the mystery, that Jacques was the Ronin or something like that. But then again, it was about someone who had been out of the game for a while. And I don't think Jacques was ever out of the game. So, yeah.
I mean, Clint might know who he is because he didn't ask for any background on Jack. No, he just asked for that Sloan, limited or whatever, or LTD.
Yeah, well, exactly. Well, there's lots of possibilities there, and I'm sure we'll know on Wednesday what the real truth of it is and what will break the internet. But the thing that I think would be really exciting for a lot of people is if we find out that the watch does belong to Mockingbird, and it is Adrian Pilecki, or Padalecki, or however you pronounce her last name.
Yeah, I saw the internet go off on that, because people were like, "Oh, what if his wife is Mockingbird?" And people were like, "We already have a Mockingbird."
Oh yes. No, that's not canon. It's like I guess there's some big fancy book that came out in October that says something like that, except I don't think it actually does, because I think it just requotes what Feige said years ago, and then just sort of, he says, we couldn't keep up with the films after a certain point. It's like, yes, because of production schedules, we know. But also specifically says we very much tied it into it in that first season, which means that anything from those first two seasons were in the MCU, and therefore, yes, Mockingbird and Hydra all are part of that MCU. So even if you want to say it's not canon, it was clearly in his statement canon at the time. That, by the third season they start jumping into another territory, but and that's the thing. Like I always say, Feige's not going to shut the door on anything, because he knows he may want to use it in the future. Mm-hmm. Just like how he can decide that now Ronin blades go into the sheath. Sure, why not? It's like, I'm sure he kind of feels, you guys take this out way more seriously than we do, and we get paid to do this. So I'm not sure, my friends. Yeah, but that's the thing. But if you think about it, Mockingbird's out of the life. Had to go into hiding, has a big mystery hidden about her. And maybe Laura and Mockingbird were actually good friends when Mockingbird had to get out of S.H.I.E.L.D. Mm-hmm. And so that's how they have this, and that's how, and it's like you're basically a Jimmy Olsen watch, whenever you push it and you can find it, and then you can also hit the emergency signal, and that's going to make her come or something like that. That's a drop. But but that's the idea. Is like it's this, like, it could be something that it could reveal something, and it could be about Marvel's Most Wanted.
Yeah.
Because and again, like I said, even though he does say that Ronan took out upper management and seemed to imply that it was him who did it, I'm still not certain he did, because I think it's going to be too hard to walk back.
Yeah.
That he actually did kill Maya's dad, especially since it does seem like it was a power move on the part of the Kingpin. And then, stuff that would also more mildly break the internet, but also really could break the internet without going full D'Onofrio, is revealing that Bullseye was Ronin in that scene.
Oh, yeah.
That they actually, that's the big reveal, that it's going to be that guy who comes in and he's from the Netflix universe. And it's like, no, that's all canon now. That is, here's Bullseye. We already make you, all this stuff is there. We've already said Matt Murdock is coming, or Charlie Cox is coming as Daredevil. So, the integration of everything is coming. And that's really what we're building towards, is that integration.
Oh, yeah. I mean, anyone can be in that suit. Yeah. So it's like, hey, let's throw that in. Hey, if we can get Bullseye, hey, it's Bullseye,
Yeah. And and it's a reveal that reveals a lot,
Yeah.
It gives you this idea that, okay, Bullseye still exists. He's still a major threat. And that also means that the canonicity of the Netflix universe is a little stronger now.
Mm-hmm.
That's always the thing about it. It's all about, comic books are not intended to be, sacred texts. They're not intended to be, and lo, upon this day the spider did biteth the boy, and he became the Spider-Man. Stuff gets retconned, stuff gets fudged, stuff gets misremembered as we go through sliding time. Nothing happens exactly how it happened the first time you read it when we reference it back again. Characters that were much smaller in the story become much larger because now that character has outgrown their introductory level,
Charlie,
because
I just thought of it. The strings, the Disney machine. It's going to be in D'Onofrio on Wednesday. It's gonna be in D'Onofrio. You know how I know?
How?
They said episode 5 is going to break the internet. That's Wednesday the 15th. What comes out 2 days later that Charlie Cox might be in? No way. No.
Spider-Man. Yeah. That is a real possibility. That is a real possibility. So that's an interesting take on it. So yeah. But again, D'Onofrio would be great for it, especially if D'Onofrio's in No Way Home.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. It's like whatever they're going to reveal in No Way Home, if it's going to tie into this, like I said, there's those multiple levels where it's like they can't they will want to introduce a concept on a Marvel show first before they have it show up in a Sony property, even when Marvel's producing it, just for various legal reasons.
Well, there you go. They're going to drop D'Onofrio on Hawkeye, and they'll be like, "Hey, look, all that Netflix stuff is in canon," and so then that's why the internet's going to blow up, because everyone's going to be like, "Oh, is this confirming Charlie Cox is in Spider-Man: No Way Home?"
Yeah, well, there's so many interesting things they could do in that moment, and it would be funny if they just really trolled us, and it's actually Iron Fist shows up. The one that they say, well, they're never going to bring back Iron Fist, and that's just the kind of thing for Feige to say, yeah, get that Iron Fist kid back in here. You don't tell me how to run my Marvel universe.
No.
But yeah, I also think maybe it'll be Phil. or Max Coulson, which would be great just to say, no, actually, I'm a robot now. Just completely mess with people's heads. It's like, what? It's all canon. Yeah, they won't do that. But wouldn't Charlie Esser was right? Wouldn't that break the internet? It's like,
That's a t-shirt.
Yeah, well, twice a day, just like any broken clock. Unless you're digital, which is just once a day, it just keeps on blinking 12. Anyway.
I mean, No Way Home, I could see Coulson in there.
Yeah, well, you can see anything in there. That's the thing. But he just came over from the multiverse. It's like, whatever, dudes.
Oh my god, my head was Disney's broken me, because it's just like when Kate's sitting there with her mom and Jack, and they're like, oh no, you always get those sayings wrong, absence makes the heart grow older and stuff. I'm like, is that supposed to be because he's like foreign or something? Or I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, what if he's a Skrull?
That could be. Well, we did see the tracksuited Skrull in Loki, so I guess it's really just a question of when are the Skrulls supposed to be there and when are they not. But that's a good point, And my theory is that if they are ever going to bring back Coulson, it will be in Secret Empire, or not Secret Empire, but Secret Invasion, because that will be like the one thing that the Skrulls can't duplicate is robots. And that's why in Loki, it's like, are you not, to your knowledge, have you ever been a robot? And it's like, because that's like the one thing that organic creatures can't mimic. And so if you're a robot, you will not be able to be that, there would be a test for a robot that a Skrull couldn't pass. So if you have someone that is a robot, you're going to know they're the one person that you would know would be safe.
Oh, and then the whole thing with that, he's like, oh, there's no more trick arrows and stuff, and they had to get the arrowheads out of like police impound and stuff. I'm like, okay, is this leading into armor wars between Peter Parker dropping parts of his suits and like Clint Barton just leaving trick arrowheads around him? Like, is this how Stark Tech is getting out there?
Yeah. Well, actually, he said he did have arrowheads, but you can't just put a trick arrowhead on a regular shaft. You have to have a fancy shaft. And then there's Shaft. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on in here, a lot to unpack. I am excited for Wednesday. I will be there waking up early in the morning to see what will break the internet. Come on, Mockingbird.
It's probably going to be D'Onofrio, because
yeah, well, no, it will probably be. I mean, you're probably right. That's like the most logical outcome, is that it will be Vincent D'Onofrio.
Just the timing of it is just, yeah.
Or it could be Charlie Cox. That's the thing. This is where I get back to Bullseye. If they introduce Bullseye, it opens up so much in this universe without giving it away. But arguably, and what they can argue is we already introduced D'Onofrio in this.
Yeah.
His laugh is uncredited, but it was clearly his laugh. It was clearly D'Onofrio was in this, and we just didn't credit him because we're leaving it a little open. But yes, obviously that is Kingpin.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's either him or they're really trying to make us think it is. Where's Ronan kill Maya's dad? It's like Fat Man Otto or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. I don't think he would call attention to it like that. But that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. But yeah, yeah, we'll see what they decide to do. I mean, obviously there is a lot of interesting options for them to explore, and I'm looking forward to them exploring it.
Oh, yeah.
You want to talk some comic books?
Yeah.
Okay, you want to do Amazing Spider-Man first, or do you want to do Devil's Reign first?
I don't care. You could do Amazing first.
Yeah, because I do think continuity-wise, I kind of feel like Amazing comes first.
Yeah.
And that is this, of course, the hottest couple in comics is back. Aunt May and good old Doc Ock. And man, it is just such a will they won't they. Throughout the whole thing, they, they're trying to get the, the I like that, he has both an Omni scanner and an Omni sensor. You know, two completely different ball games, my dear May. And they're trying to track down what is and like I don't know. I'm no scientist, Phil. But I would imagine that radiation is like radiation. I don't think you need to know the exact type of radiation that was poisoning him, along with the exact or the nature of the cosmic. Yeah, I guess maybe it's because it's like adapting because it's like part of them. It's their cosmic ray cells kind of thing. I guess that's maybe what it's supposed to be.
Come on, Charlie. Gave them an excuse for you to get a Otto Octavius X-ray fight.
Oh yeah,
those versus Otto. Come on.
Oh yeah, you gotta love that. I mean, I do love me. My. Let's okay. I was just trying to check to see who that guy with the red beard is behind him. I don't think it's anybody. Although I guess arguably it could be D-Man if he's gotten himself in trouble somehow recently. You never know. Those unlimited class wrestler guys, they go in and out of prison all the time, and we get a nice parallel here between how Otto handles a fight and how Aunt May handles a fight. Because Aunt May just goes to Vapor, who is in her human form, which is great. And I'm glad that they're like trying to show that she can get into human form. They don't really say whether or not Vector, X-Ray, or Ironclad can go into their human forms, but they can with spin technology, which is something they introduced and then quickly forgot about. That we can turn off anyone's superpowers at any time, whenever we want to. But only when it helps the story. But yeah, so they got her, and she, Aunt May sweet talks her. And what's funny is Aunt May has to open the cell to take it out, and then she just lets her close the cell back up on her because, she doesn't want to cause a problem. I don't know. I think
she's just like, there's a lot of bad stuff going on. Let me just sit here.
Alarms are out. There's a freaking octopus man on the loose. Lots of troubles. So, but Aunt May does the whole thing. I never should have. I wanted to believe you could be a better person, but I was obviously mistaken. Yada yada. Exactly. And then it turns out that some random person just gave us all of these files and said, "Here's how you cure poor old Peter Parker." Here's a question for you, though, that I think is a question here. Doc Ock doesn't know Peter Parker is Spider-Man anymore, right?
As far as I know, yeah.
But see, that's what's weird.
Yeah.
Because he remembers Parker Industries, and he remembers being Spider-Man, but he doesn't remember Peter Parker being Spider-Man. It's like there's a hole in that washtub somewhere, Phil. But I'm wondering if the big reveal is going to be as Peter gets better, he has no powers.
I don't know,
because as it turns out, because of course Otto didn't know, the way that he set it up was to kill all that radioactive blood within him, and now he does not have his spider blood anymore, radioactive spider blood. And then we get to the Beyond Corporation, or so the Infinite Corporation, and of course Parker Industries up here, because he was so surprised that Peter Parker let the Beyond Corporation steal all of what he had built, and now he's going to come take it back. Yeah, there's a real inconsistency in this, especially when we get to Devil's Reign.
Yeah.
And again, where I wonder if these things are connected, because in this here's the thing. In this, he says, "You took, you don't know who you work for. They took everything from me." And it makes me now start to wonder if Otto, kind of like Peter, after he made the deal, suddenly had a reconstructed version of how that deal got made.
Maybe,
That
I think so, yeah.
that rather than he does not remember that Mephisto made him back into who he was, now he's remembering it was the Beyond Corporation. And the Beyond Corporation and what things they do from beyond. But speaking of which, at the end of Devil's Reign, we get this nice bit with Kilgrave and the Kingpin. And Kilgrave's like, yeah, just let me out of this cell and I'll show you how I make the world bend to my whim. And Kingpin's like, dude, your powers don't work on me. My will is too strong. And it's an interesting statement because, it is true. There is someone whose powers do work on the Kingpin. And do you remember who that is, Phil?
No, who are you talking about?
Frank from Bayonne.
Oh, of course.
Well, he's immune to mind control unless you happen to be a Beyonder. No, he may have been juicing. We don't know. But anyway. Yeah, but the actual truth is that when Kilgrave tried to mind control him, he was like, nobody mind controls me.
Yeah.
I'm the freaking Kingpin. And, for what it's worth, even when Emperor Doom took over the world with the power of Kilgrave, there were still people that even with his powers supermaxed out, Kilgrave couldn't control. And I know it was Namor, the Vision. I can't remember if there was someone else, but it's been a long time since I read Emperor Doom. But the idea being that, yeah, there even Kilgrave's powers do have these real limitations. Which makes it interesting that even still, Kilgrave's kids could do that to the Kingpin with the power boost. So,
well, they had a machine to boost their powers and stuff. Yeah,
it was probably based on Doom's machine.
I think so. I think it was.
Yeah, he may be a drop up, but the guy's a good tinkerer. What can you say? He's a petty dabbler, but he can put a spell together and make it look real nice.
Yeah, that's how the last issue with Daredevil ended, and this one began. Fisk is like, I have fouls on, telling Daredevil, I have fouls that say, your identity is supposed to be in here, but it's just like gibberish or,
Yeah, which actually means that the file is there, that the file is accurate, but he has a mental block that says he can't read it.
Oh, yeah, I think it is, because I think in that Daredevil issue, I think Matt Murdock was even saying, he's like, after that whole Purple Kids thing, it's like anyone who, tries to read anything or, has any evidence that Matt Murdock is Daredevil, it's like their brain kind of pushes them in a different direction. It's just like, no, this is,
Yeah, which is one of the things I think is what we're going to be dealing with Otto at Fantastic Four headquarters.
Oh, yeah.
And, I don't know. Doesn't Otto have warrants out for him? I don't think a mayor can just pardon you for acts of terrorism.
I mean, officially, maybe he can't. Maybe,
Yeah, but it seems like they're like nobody's really in charge anymore.
Oh yeah, this is mayor. What do you think?
I was very upset about the very end scene with Tony Stark saying now he's going to run to mayor as he goes to Cage. Because it's like, first off, I really was waiting for him to say, you need money to I want you to be mayor.
Yeah.
Because he has that big viral moment. Like, I'm a New Yorker and I'm going to do this. But for Tony to just say, no, I'm going to run for mayor. And it's just like, no, Tony, you are not that likable. Yes, do not run for mayor, Tony. So I'm hoping in the next episode, Jessica Jones says, don't be an idiot, Tony Stark. You are too dang unstable to be mayor.
Give Steve Rogers the money. Let him run.
Well, Steve Rogers doesn't like to get into politics.
I know.
He's like, no. Unlike Hawkeye, Cap wants to be a human weapon. He's like, yeah, just point me in a good direction, and I'll decide what's the good direction. But yeah, don't come at me and make me make the choices about, tax rates, marginal tax rates. That's not what I'm good at. Um, exactly. Captain America is good at punching bad guys. He knows his lane. He knows what he's good at. Don't make him pretend to be more than he is,
Oh, hey, did Otto make a deal with the government? Because he's telling Reed Richards, he's like, the government was happy to look the other way until I showed them what you actually have cooking in that lab.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, that's effectively it. It's like, I think that basically everyone gets a pass, and it's like, and it's literally just like, who got the paper signed this morning? Like the ink is still wet on it. That, and I guess that's his infinite. It's some kind of infinity gate or something. I don't think that's the one that. Well, it might be the one that lets you travel to any point in the universe, or anything, any point in time in reality. But yeah. So do you? Yeah.
Superior 4 is coming, man. Otto wants some friends.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So he's gonna get his 4 other selves, which I don't know. Part of me just wonders, like, are they gonna have a hard time getting along? Oh, across the Ottoverse. It's I'm a little disappointed that one of them isn't a Tolliver. So at least that we've seen so far. But it would be nice to see a Tolliver character there.
I am superior. No, I am superior.
We're all superior in our own special way. Yes.
Then we have the Thunderbolts trying to bring in Moon Knight.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think they do, don't they?
There's at least one issue where they I think it's the Devil's Reign tie, and he's sitting in jail, so I'm pretty sure they bring him in.
Yeah. Although they're allowed to keep their masks on in jail. Although again, but again, and this is one of these weird things. It's like characters like Moon Knight, Captain America, Tony Stark. They're all known people.
Mm-hmm.
They're not hiding who they are. They're not hiding from what they're doing. They're just there. It's like, yeah, I put on the costume, but quite frankly, you know where I live. I have an address downtown. Even Luke Cage, who doesn't put on a mask, it's like, you guys know where I live. I have business cards.
Yeah.
If there's a problem with what I'm doing, you are free to always raise that issue. You don't have to say it's banned, because even arguably he doesn't fit into the categories that they're trying to ban. That's the real thing of it. It's like he's not really the problem that they're trying to imply he is.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that's where it all falls apart. Is once you get a good lawyer like Jennifer Walters in here, because obviously everything is going to be they're really building up Jennifer Walters for that big Jen Walters reveal. I think for the new series.
Well, yeah, I was going to say she got a new series coming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for a new comic book series and a new Disney Plus series.
Yep.
And they're definitely going to be building out some. They know how they're going to build out their She-Hulk. So it's going to be interesting. I think, anyway.
Oh yeah. So do you think U.S. agents actually playing ball with Fisk, or is he maybe like or at the end are we going to see? Oh no, they planted me in here the whole time to keep an eye on you.
Well, I mean, I could definitely see that. I mean, that's the thing about he doesn't like to follow orders, and but he also is one of the. He's basically he is a busting heads kind of guy.
Oh yeah.
He is the kind of guy who feels that peace through superior firepower is a real valid concept.
Oh yeah.
And so I can see him going along with the Kingpin, expressly knowing that I'll bring him down later. If nothing else, like and here's where he orders me to do this, and here's where he orders me to do that, and I'm going to turn all kinds of state's evidence on you, Wilson Fisk, because. Why would you bring in a guy named U.S. Agent who has no history of supervillainy? I mean, I guess, okay, he was kind of the evil Captain America for that, like, hot second, but, almost immediately he still goes back to just working with the government, Maybe this is how they're going to reintroduce Contessa Allegra Valeria De Fontaine, so that she's the one that's really in charge. interesting thing about Fisk's Thunderbolts is that technically a taped together Sentry is a part of it.
Yeah, that.
And so if we get the Sentry back, if we get they're playing with some real interesting. There's a lot of stuff that has been introduced into the Marvel Universe over the years, including that special device that makes everyone forget things. That which has also played into these stories in the past. It makes me wonder if there is going to be this effort to try and get as much of this stuff crammed back into the continuity in a streamlined way. Like they really want to get all this stuff together, get everything together, figure out how Mephisto plays into it. Because, and again, Mephisto is also subject to the Beyonder. You know, that Mephisto wants that power, but is also but a scratch without death. Mephisto is powerless, and nobody realizes that because we're just all built on our own conceits that he has a contract. It's like he gave you a piece of paper, and you're saying that piece of paper has power over you.
Disney, you want to break the internet with Hawkeye episode 5? Mephisto's working with Fisk. Come on, that's how you break the internet.
That would make it. Oh, just have Mephisto show up.
Yes.
Have Paul F. Tompkins show up as Mephisto. It says, "I really like the mustache." Okay. Did you read any other books? Did you read Iron Man, Captain America?
Yes, I did.
Yes, this was an enjoyable book. Man, so I got a variant cover, and there was a part of me that was really worried that they were going to suggest that Sharon Carter slept with Tony Stark. Because you open it up, he's in bed with a blonde.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, there's all this stuff, and then it's like, well, I could get you an audition at S.H.I.E.L.D. if you want. And then, no, this is the lady from the Falcon Winter Soldier series.
Yep.
The Pink Madam Hydra, as we call her. Yes. And honestly, it's just weird that she's up in front of Judge.
Yes.
That's just... Are we sure she's not a fourth wall breaker? Is this universe's version of Gwenpool? I don't know. It's like there is stuff that just it's a little weird when you think about it, But she does her whole narration. We get some friends from the 50 State Initiative, including 51, who apparently was an alien with some kind of electricity powers. I don't remember him. I don't remember any of these people. Although I have a vague recollection of Pioneer, but that could just be, random memories. I'm waiting to see what 51 wants. Because, that? Yeah, I can get you that. What is our MacGuffin? What is the MacGuffin going to be? But I do like how they've handled her character here. I think she makes for a very nice, exasperated, fourth wall breaky supervillain. Like, especially just this idea is like, I don't want space lasers. I just want to make the world a better place.
Oh no, I like this book. I like I like when Steve and Tony say those people on the bus on the highway, and all the old ladies get off and they're like, "Oh, I had a poster of you when I was a young girl," and then Steve and Tony's like, "I literally caught the bus."
Yeah, well, it's Batman and Superman all over again. We're all appreciated for everything you did, Superman, but did you see Batman's here? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I like their dynamic. I think they have a good dynamic.
Oh, yeah.
Especially, and I like the idea that Tony Stark is actually a really nice guy, and that is like the most annoying thing about him. Like, no billionaire should ever be that nice of a person. But yeah, I'm excited to see where this one's going. I told them to pull it, and I think it's Captain America and Iron Man. I told them it was Iron Man and Captain America, so they didn't pull it this week. But fortunately, it was still on the shelf. So always make sure you give them the right order of names. when you're ordering these books, friends.
Remember, it's an alphabetical order.
Yes. Anything else you want to talk about?
Oh, did you read Black Cat?
No, I did not get to that one yet. But it looked interesting. I was like trying to do try to see if I could understand what was going on just by flipping through the pages, but no, I could not get to that. Why don't you tell me what happens, Phil?
Oh my God! Well, remember the last few issues of Black Cat? She was working with Star and the other Infinity Stone users, and remember she was telling Star and all them, "Oh, I have this job." Basically this head of this female head of AIM. She's dying of cancer or whatever, and she needs, we're gonna cure her, and but then it seems like well, Black Cat tricks everybody. Yes, they cure someone, but it turns out it was Felicia's mother who had the cancer.
Wouldn't that have been a more compelling story? Or I don't know.
I think I don't know. She's just thought, oh, I'm dealing with maybe some unsavory characters who weren't going to go out of their way to do a good deed, but maybe if I make them think there's a payday or something involved in here.
That makes sense. The old help us save the princess, and you will have there'll be rewards beyond your more than you can imagine. I can imagine a lot, kid. So so that makes sense.
But then
best line in all of Star Wars, by the way.
Yeah. But no, Nick Fury knew this was going on, so he had like most of the hospital are plants by Fury, so they're
well, Fury's always one step ahead, and I did see that we have Nighthawk in this.
Yes.
He's also trying to do his plan to restore his universe, the best universe where everyone worships Mephisto. That should be a big red flag, Nighthawk. Exactly. Really, it's like you're the world's greatest detective, but you do know who Mephisto is, right? You do know what that means, but it's like, what are you gonna do?
So yes, but I mean, Fury does manage to arrest Felicia, and at the end, and then her mom's like, she's like, I'd rather die than have you do this. And Felicia's like, no, she's like, I wasn't good enough to save Dad. She's like, but I was gonna save you. I don't care.
Yeah.
But then they're like, oh, hey, your lawyers are here, and she's like, okay. And then in the last page is, the lawyers are her guys.
Yep. So obviously they break out so that her and Mary Jane can have an adventure.
That's right, in January, yes.
Yay! Black Cat and Red Jane. I don't know. Black Cat and Big Red. So,
but no, that was a good one. Definitely read that one.
Yes, I will. I will absolutely. And then, on my because I love a good fourth wall break. Although, I got very excited about Suicide Squad with Ambush Bug. I just don't think they utilize him enough. I felt he was much better written when he was in Doom Patrol, and he actually would make the script for the episode appear and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that is what they need in that Doom Patrol series on HBO Max, by the way. They just need to have Ambush Bug show up. But we have this one super villain. I believe her name is Culebra, Culebra, Culebra. She's a big, strong, tough lady. And she keeps on dying, and she goes to hell. But then she comes back because they have these pills they give her. But she says she's going to take down. And again, the way that everyone is talking about how we're going to bring down Amanda Waller, it's just so heavily foreshadowed. It's like, I don't think you are. I don't think that any of this is going to work. And I think that your plan, I think she knows. She's very well aware of what everyone's planning. And that's part of her plan. And apparently if she doesn't take her pills on a regular basis, she dies again. But apparently she can just come back when you give her another pill. And when she dies, she becomes a ghost, but it's like a ghost you can see. And it's a little weird. And again, I went back. I went to Comixology to get the first couple of issues to see this. And, well, here we go. when Ambush Bug says, "Hey, I was told I was going to be the only fourth wall breaker on this book. You'll hear from my agent." But they free the guy that they're trying to free. He, what's his name? Yorick. Oh yes, because Ambush Bug is in the cell with Yorick, and Yorick is figuring out their escape. And yes, and that is what she has been sent to free from the science cells, the Black Hand. That's who Waller wants for her team. Oh boy. But they all get out, and Waller says, "I finally got all the pieces I need. Do you realize what that means? Nothing can stop me." And then we see, of course, there's Jack Flag, who's out to stop her. So I don't know who's going to stop her, but I enjoy it. It's a little. I think that if I was as big of a DC fan as I am a Marvel fan, I would love it even more, because I get the feeling there are a lot of deep cuts throughout this. So I enjoy it and I like it.
Nice.
And that was the last book I got a chance to read this week. It has been a crazy week. Do you have anything else you want to talk about, Phil?
No, that's good. No.
Okay, well then, let's call it a day. How can people find us if they'd like to talk to us about these wild and crazy adventures we're always on?
If you'd like to get a hold of us, especially, we're going to be doing a big Devil's Reign crossover with all of Ray's podcasts. Well, two of them, Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast, and To Knowers to Fear, the Spider-Woman podcast, and Russell and Justin's Tomes of Evil podcast. So yeah, send your thoughts on all the Devil's Reign stuff between all the podcasts. We're going to be covering them all. So yeah, email us capesandlunatics@gmail.com or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-capes. And you can find all our social medias, links to the YouTube channel, links to our Patreon. Again, please subscribe. We're paying for this out of our own pockets now. Or merchandise. Find all of it at Linktree, linktr.ee/capesandlunatics.
Wonderful. And of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way the way our mothers and fathers once did, at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. And of course, follow me on the Twitter as I live tweet things when I feel like it and something's on, at Charlie Esser. That's CHARLIE ESSER. Look for the two E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Maz. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that has been another episode of Super Connectivity. I hope you have enjoyed connecting with us superlatively. Please come back again next week to super connect with us again. Good night.
Good night.
That was a fun episode. But yeah, can't wait to see how they break the internet.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be wild, man.
Hawkeye, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man showing up would be cool. Doctor Strange showing up would be cool. Lots of things. That's the thing. There's so many things that could break the internet. May Day. The cavalry.